Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this lesson, as you can see, did you forget about God's spiritual power? And this is a dealing with spiritual power. You know, these are lessons that, you know, personally, I like to go into. I know a lot of brothers and sisters also, you know, love that those lessons dealing with spiritual power. Okay, but it's, you know, it's not also just something that, oh, I just like talking about spiritual power, but it's something that we actually have to understand that will be taking place, all right, in or as a part of the deliverance of the Lord's people. Okay, it's going to be by way of the spirit, the power of the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Now, I was, when I woke up today, I was meditating on how this devil or these devils took the world from the way it was, came up with this whole madness that we see going on, and have now pushed a level of fear, okay, upon the earth that a lot of people are being crippled by. And you have people in the world that, it's funny because a lot of these so-called Christians and a lot of these so-called believers are crippled and out of fear of either the thing or fear of the consequence of not taking, you know, the juice works, the you know, the thing. Out of fear of that, they go and they break and they comply, you know. But on our end, there is no excuse for us to go and do that. Because when you read all throughout the scriptures, which I have a few here in particular that I want to touch on, or I want to go into, what more reason does the Lord have to show us in order for you to just calm down and believe? All right. What more reason does the Lord need to show us? The scriptures say in Romans 15:4 that what was written aforetime, meaning what was written in the past, was written for our learning. Okay, let's actually start off with that real quick. There is a reason why the Lord had it to where these things were written and preserved. The words that we read here are thousands of years old. Okay, what other book, you know, do you think the Lord preserved with that much care? But he preserved the words of these books here for us, that in the latter day, I believe Ezra said that, let me also hold that men may find their way. And finding our way starts by having faith. I mean, if the Lord parted you, when you read these scriptures, there's a reason why we tell you have to visualize it and imagine it and see it in your head as you read it. Now, imagine you standing there at the edge of the Gulf of Suez, right? And there's this big giant body of water in front of you, and the Lord says you about to cross that. And all of a sudden, just this mighty rushing wind just, you know, and then the whole body of water you're looking at as you witness it is parting in half to where it becomes a whole wall on one hand and then a wall on another hand, and you can walk on dry land. That's not fiction. That's nonfiction. Okay? And the Most High went to that extent to do that for us. Okay? He went to that extent to do that for us. So why would you now all of a sudden you went from having experienced a deliverance on that level to where you're afraid of this? You know, the Most High, the same God that did that is the same God that's here today. The Lord is just being long suffering now, but it doesn't mean that he's not there. It doesn't mean he's not seeing what's going on. And it doesn't mean he's going to sit there and let wickedness flourish. Hell no. Okay, so Lord willing, I'm going to put you into remembrance of these things, or some of these things that the Lord did or for us in the past. Some of these abilities that we were able to do. The bloodline of people that were able to perform these spiritual power acts is still here today. And that same blood runs within us. That same spirit flows within us. Okay? So just like they were able to do things back then, we will be able to do things now. Okay? You have to believe that because our God didn't change. He didn't die. He's not. Malachi 3 and 6 tells you the Most High changes not. And every time we were in trouble, did the Most High not send or open up a way for us to be delivered? And that's why we have accounts of how he did it. And if he could have done it in a way where it didn't need to be, you know, crazy, he did it. But if it was a way where we needed divine intervention, that's exactly what happened. So do you not think that now would be a time where we would need divine intervention? Divine intervention is coming. Spiritual power is coming on that level, but it's going to come at the appointed time. There's an appointed time where all these things must happen. All right? And the Lord knows when that time is. We don't know exactly what day that's going to be. But why do you think brothers are getting dreams and visions and all these, and you have these dreams where it's very vivid. You feel almost like it's real. You know, where you're able to do supernatural things. And we know that we're not crazy because these things are written in the Bible. The men that the Lord was dealing with, they were men that were able to do these things. Okay, call down fire from heaven, bring back somebody from the dead. That's a cheat code. that's a life hack. They have certain short videos on like life hacks, things to make life easier for yourself. Being able to bring somebody back from the dead, you don't think that's a life hack? You don't think that's an ability that nobody else has been able to do? That's one. Death has been a code nobody else has been able to crack. But you know who cracked that, or who overcame that? Yahweh Shai. So these things that we read about, yeah, they're written, they're happening. And you have to believe it because the other parts about the prophecies that will take place, those are happening too. So when the parts about the standard being lifted, okay, about the evil not coming near us, about the Lord saying that the things he did, we will do in greater, and we were going to be witnesses unto him, both in Judea and to the uttermost parts of the world. Well, that's now. Okay, that's now. Now this is the book of 2nd Esdras. Let's see, chapter 14. And I'm gonna start off at, there we go. 2nd Esdras chapter 14, verse 20. Behold, Lord, I will go as thou hast commanded me, and reprove the people which are present. But they that shall be born afterward, who shall admonish them? Thus the world is set in darkness, and they that dwell therein are without light. For thy law is burnt, therefore no man knoweth the things that are done of thee, or of the works that shall begin. And why do you think it's important for us to know the things that are done of the Lord? Because we're supposed to have faith in the Lord, right? So in essence, the Lord always left, he left like a resume. Not that he needed one, but he left like a resume of the things that he can do and the things he has done, which that resume, well, what we've seen doesn't even come in comparison to what we will see or what the Lord can do. But as we go back in the scriptures and we read and we see these different events, that's like a resume of like, look, the Lord did this. Look, the Lord did that. Look, the Lord did this. So if that's what he's known for, and now is the time where we need him to do what he's known for, why would he not? Now it says, but if I have found grace before thee, send the Holy Spirit into me, and I shall write all that hath been done in the world since the beginning, which were written in the law, that men may find thy path, and that they which will live in the latter days may live. How are we going to live? We're going to live through the words of life, all right, through the scriptures. Because as the Lord said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. And it is the spirit that quickeneth. So as Ezra said, there is a reason why the information needed to be written and preserved for us, that in the latter days we may find our way, that in these times we don't turn to the devil and say, you know what, we're going to comply because we don't have another way. No, we do have another way. We know the alternative. And actually, I'm sorry, that's not an alternative. That's the route to go. Okay? So for those that are in the world that may not believe in this other route or may not have full knowledge of these things, it's funny because as a pastor, right, you should know of these stories. You should know of the accounts of the various things that our forefathers did. But yet they're the first ones telling you, no, go line up and take it. You know? Paul got bit by a venomous snake. Did you see Paul bugging out? The barbarians, as they call them, that were around him were like, yo, this guy, oh, he's so dead. He's dead. He just started digging his grave already. And Paul was just there, and as they waited and waited and waited, he's not dead. He's not choking up. His blood is not coagulating. They're like, what the hell? Oh, this guy's a god. You know? But no, it was because the Spirit of the Lord was, and he was pretty much immune. Now, who do you know gets bit by a snake and they just all chill and they're good and they're just fine? They actually are fine. Because as the scriptures say, the Lord knows how to preserve, okay, and deliver the godly from temptation. Now, this is the book of Romans chapter 15, verse 4. And it says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime, meaning in the past, were written for our learning. Okay? Because now, how do we find our way back to the Lord? By reading these words. Khan. Shalom. Shalom, Zaquan Wa. Shalom to all you brothers and sisters tuning in. All right. I have said ye are gods. Right? That's in the scriptures, Psalms 82 and 6. So as gods, that's why if you pay attention, I mentioned this before, what other nation or people from another nation ever were able to, did the Lord give them spiritual power? You had some that try to do things, and they did on the left hand side, but as we read in the book of Exodus, the right hand always beats the left hand. The magi's and sorcerers of Pharaoh, they couldn't compete with the power of the Lord. Okay? Because as the scripture said, we are gods. So please tell me why in the hell, if you are a god, are you scared of Esau? What's so scary about him? Have you ever, that's like a lion being scared of a little mouse. You know, because the lion never looked in the mirror and found out that, oh shoot, I'm actually a lion and that's a mouse. The lion, he probably spent his whole life thinking the mouse done deceived the lion into thinking the lion is an ant. And the mouse is this big ass giant monster, like, ooh, you know? So that when I was thinking about that, I started getting a little upset because I was thinking in my head, wait, time out. Why should we feel pressured? You know? Why should we feel upset? Why should we feel, okay, I understand upset, but why should we feel pressured? Why should we feel like we're being backed into a corner? This devil is the one who really has to fear. Maybe he forgot what the Lord did to the Egyptians, all right, or to Nineveh, okay, or to everybody else. Maybe he forgot. And anybody that tried to touch or harm the Lord's people, he forgot what the Lord did to them. So why we shouldn't be the ones that are afraid. We shouldn't feel like, oh man, this devil's about to, you know, damn, he's coming for my job. He's coming for this. The Most High's coming for his life. We have the blue. This right here shows us what's going to happen at the end. Okay? We have a power that they don't have. How many people do you know can tell you the future? Hey, guess what? We can tell you the future. So you got all this power. Your power is the one true living power, and yet you're afraid of what? That's the question. Really, what are you afraid of? You know? What is there to be scared of? You know, you just got to believe, man. Now, let's actually go in here. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11. And I'm going to start at verse 4. And it says, these two olive trees and the two candlesticks, or Salakia, these are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the power of the earth, okay, which overall represent the two kingdoms, all right, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel, right? Verse 5, and if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. And there's accounts of this happening. Elijah did it. He called down fire from heaven. And what happened? Exactly as it's written here. It devoured the enemies. A couple, I believe it did it twice. Okay? And they came there with a whole army and they were afraid. They were afraid of him because they were like, look, and he was one man. All right, but the Lord had blessed him to be able to call down fire from heaven. Imagine power like that. Okay? And it says he must in this manner be killed, because if you come to touch or hurt the Lord's elect, there's a defense mechanism. The Lord didn't put us out here defenseless. Okay? The Lord's Spirit has a defense and an offense. Now, verse 6 says, these have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy. This devil got to use harp machines and weather manipulation, this and that. And even still, he'll come and tell you, oh, bright and sunny today at 3 p.m. the shit just starts raining. You know, you're like, wait, hold on, I didn't take an umbrella. The devil, they said that it wasn't going to rain. Oh, sorry. The joint changed. You know, and they're using their satellites and this and that and tracking this and all of that. Well, guess what? When have they, just by the power of their, well, obviously from the Heavenly Father, but just by using words, been able to cause a drought? Stop it from raining for years. How so? Okay. It says, and have power over waters to turn them to blood. When? When have they been able to do that? And we're talking about literal power just right there. You know, right there. You command it and it happens. We were able to do that. What we're reading here is of our forefathers. Okay. That were able to do that. That's why whenever any trouble came, what was the first thing we did? We prayed to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. If we had to fast, we fasted. Okay? But the first place we turned was there because we knew, well, he did it last time, so of course he'll do it again. Okay? It says, to turn them to blood and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. That is spiritual power. That is the power to make things happen, to manifest things to happen. All right? And we have that power. It's within us. It's as simple as the Lord just doing that. But it's about when. It's the timing. Okay? It's the timing. And those that wait upon the Lord are the ones that he is going to, as the scriptures say, he is going to renew their strength. Okay? They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. So if all of us just get, if we just perish, who's going to fulfill that prophecy? You know? We shall not all die, but we shall all be changed. How are we not going to die if they want to starve us to death and round us up and throw us into concentration camps and FEMA camps? You know, they're not going to be able to force anything on you. They may make you feel as though you're being forced, but ultimately, if you make the decision to stay and trust in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you will be delivered. All right. Now, this is Revelation chapter 11, verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another. Why? Because these two prophets tormented them that dwell upon the earth. So they were afraid. Okay, they were afraid. And that's why on the slightest chance that they had to subject us and to put us in subjection under them, because they knew that our weakness, our kryptonite was going off and being separated from our power, they took that. And they never looked back. Because they were afraid. Really, they are afraid. So that's why what we're doing now is so threatening to them, because what we're doing now is basically moving away from that kryptonite and getting closer to the sun, like Superman. He draws his power from the sun, right? I ain't talking about sun worship either. All right, but that's what we're doing. And in essence, they're afraid of that because that torment that we tormented them with, our history, the things that we were able to do. I'll give you an example. Samson. Man, do you know how happy those Philistines were when they finally got Samson? They were, look, man, I'm telling you, man, them Philistines, they because he just, what could you do against him? You know, if he decided he wanted to come and you know, just tear shit up, what were you going to do? Because what? The Lord had blessed them with the ability, super strength, right? And he was able to slay 1,000 with the jawbone of an ass. What do you do against somebody like that? You know what Esau would do? He would bring out his super soldiers, his robots, his satellite weapons, you know, all manner of weapons, because Back then, they came with men, shields, swords, bucklers, all of that to fight. This time, Esau comes with technology. So this time, remember, the Lord said a false balance is an abomination. Now, back then, why do you think Samson wasn't able to, teleport and disappear and do some Kamehameha waves and some Dragon Ball Z and, shoot beams out his eyes and, just telekinesis and just control people and all of that? He didn't need to. That would be overkill. Because the power he had was sufficient for what he had to do. Okay? Same thing. The power the Lord gave men in the past was sufficient for what they had to do. But now you got to look at what we're going up against. How will we survive against a coalition by the devil who has or is utilizing his sword, his technology? Look at the shit they can do. They could freaking bring sound weapons to bust out your eardrums, microwave weapons to make you feel like you're burning, certain frequencies to mess with your head. These are the things they have soldiers that they obviously, when they bring out shows like movies like Captain America and movies like X-Men with Wolverine and Deadpool, that's not just fiction. They actually experiment on soldiers to see how they can make them super soldiers. Okay? So they have things like that. They have exosuits that make them have super strength, that could jump higher, that can do all manner of things. And what we got? What do we have? So that's a false balance. So what the Lord has to do, or when the Lord brings power, it's gonna be that will not only rival what Esau has, but it's gonna eclipse what these devils have. Beautiful. Like the brother put, the name. And just like the movie Shazam, it was through the name that he would get that power. All right. That's right. This is Stay in the Spirit 144 ba, 2 Corinthians 12:9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach may rest upon me. Okay? Because guess what? Us being weak shows whose power? If the Lord uses the weak to destroy the mighty, it doesn't show, because everybody knows that we're weak. I'll give you an example. When the apostles healed the lame man, the man that couldn't walk, and he went with them leaping and jumping up in the temple, and people saw him, you know what they were curious about? How did you walk? What was the external factor that allowed you to walk? They weren't looking at him like he just had the power one day to just get up and start walking. They were looking for what happened? What was the external source? Some other source, some other way gave you that ability to walk. That's what they were looking for. Okay? And so in this time, when things like these start happening, obviously we're going to glorify the Lord, but people ain't going to look at... People that know you know that they're like, man, I know this kid, or I grew up with this dude. Ain't no way he was able to just do that. I've never seen him do something like that before. And then they're going to realize every time as they hear us calling upon the name of the Lord that there's a cause, there's a source. There's something they do or something they say that causes this. It's not them. It's something that they're equated with. And that's the Lord. That's how these nations knew the Lord. He would use us to do things, but they knew these people there's a certain power. Like Heliodorus told what's this guy's name? Seleucus, when he came back, he said, look, there's a God over there that watches over them. There's some power over there that's watching over them. And I know that because when I first went there, they were crying. They were mourning. They weren't coming up against me like they had their own, strength. And then they started praying. And then all of a sudden, all I know is I'm getting my ass beat by 2 angels, to the point where I'm about to die. So they knew that he understood that there's a defense mechanism over there. There's some defense mechanism that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has set in place. All right. That's right. Stay in the spirit 144. Ba, the infirmities that we will have during this time will require greater strength so that we will be sufficient in these times. Exactly. Because that's how the Lord is going to balance it. That's why he said, they that wait upon me shall what? Shall renew their strength. The Lord, listen, nobody knows more than Yahweh. Okay? The reason we call him the Most High is not just a title. The Most High, meaning there's no one higher than him in anything. Okay? So everything that you see going on, he already has every single thing calculated to the detail. Do you think a power that knows how many strands of hair are on everybody's head, is going to miscalculate something? Or is going to tell you that, hey, I'm going to deliver you, but then he really can't deliver you? So when you remember, the scriptures say that this is going to be a time like never before. And I always mention that that's not just on the left hand, but it's also going to be on the right hand side. Because if there's chaos coming, salvation comes from that, right? Meaning the Lord is going to need to do something that we've never seen before on the right hand side to deliver us from something we've never seen before on the left hand side. And you got to be excited and get ready for that, because our power can do it. We're reading about some of the things that he's done. And if he's done these before, why wouldn't he be able to do it now? The same God that woke us up to this truth, think about that. You know, think about that. How did we wake up to the truth? Well, did we not fall away? Did we not come to a point where we couldn't even read and write? Where we were killed if we were found reading the Bible? So how do a people that are no people, that call themselves black people, that go around gang banging and at some point were just considered property, right? That couldn't read and write, they couldn't do any of that. How do those people all of a sudden understand a book that nobody else can understand? Do you think that was of our own power? Do you think that just happened like that? No, because the Most High did that. And just that alone is an example that the Lord is still here, he's still with us, and he is still real. That's why these devils are afraid. Because they know, they look at it and they say, wait, no, it shouldn't make sense. We've done everything. We've hidden the truth. We've covered everything. We've beaten them. We took their nationality away from them. How did they get it back? Why do you think these devils are afraid of that? Because they know that there's a hand working. The hand of God is working. It's working somewhere, you know? And they're breaking down the scriptures. The things that they're seeing are happening. People are waking up. It's happening before their eyes. Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37 is power of the Lord. That's divine intervention. Because if the Lord didn't intervene, then those dry bones would have remained dry bones. But he intervened, and now look at where we at. And the scriptures say in Baruch that in the land of our captivity, we shall remember ourselves. And we're going to call upon the name of the Lord. How are we going to remember ourselves? Because the Lord is going to put that spirit on us. So the same way he put the spirit on us to understand these scriptures, how do you think we understand the Bible? How do you think we remember precept from precept and know what it means? You think that's of us? You think we just woke up one day and we were just able to do that? No. You think it's about getting a college degree or a PhD? No. It's about the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Look at the various different brothers. Look at the brothers, look at the elders, look at the various different ones. In society, we weren't looked at as some, most likely to break down the Bible. We weren't voted most likely to be prophets of the Lord. So ask, how the hell does a drug dealer become a scholar in the Bible? And understand something that scholars who spent years in their life, excavating things, having the ability to do these various forms of research, and they can't understand certain things of this Bible. But yet somebody that maybe dropped out of school, whether high school or college or whatever the case may be, was looked at as this guy, man, what is he doing with his life? All of a sudden he can pick up this book that has been encrypted for years. He can pick it up and explain it and tell you that, hey, they're going to do this, that, and that in the future, and then you see it actually happening. You think that was of him? He went from selling drugs or doing drugs or being in jail or gang banging or whatever the hell he was doing to now he knows the Bible inside and out. He can tell you what this means in here. And you think that was just random, that just happened. They just random individuals just woke up one day and they just said, hey, I'm going to be prophets. You know, I'm going to go around, I'm going to open to the book of Revelation, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go into the Greek, I'm going to go into the Hebrew, I'm going to break this down, I'm going to link it with this precept, I'm going to tell you who is who, I'm going to tell you what is going to happen. And we just randomly knew how to do that, right? Because we just woke up one day and that happened. No, that is an example of the power of the Lord. The Most High did that. What business does some Negro in the corner somewhere have speaking Hebrew? When? How? You know? Who came to you and exposed you to Hebrew? When? You could barely speak English. You speak in slang, you know? So how does somebody that, like I said, an example, right, dropped out of high school, end up knowing Greek and Hebrew and Latin? You know? Knowing geography. Knowing history. Breaking it down, you got people coming up. How do you think that happens? Because it's the Spirit of the Lord that did that. So that we could come to this truth, because step one was for us to first awaken. Remember, the Spirit of life entering into us. That was step one. We had to first awake to this truth. Mentally, the spiritual power had to come up here first to wake us up. Matthew 25 talks about when the bridegroom tarried, they slumbered and slept, right? But when a cry was made, they arose and trimmed their lamps. Okay? So when that time came, that's when the Lord put the Spirit on us and we arose. That is an example of spiritual power. So if the Lord did that back then, and you wonder, well, why can't we fly yet? Because that's not needed yet. Right now, what's needed, what's our job right now? To teach this word. To feed the Lord's sheep. The Lord's sheep ain't going to be fed if they see you doing backflips in the midair. They're going to be fed if you can go into the verses and tell them and break down what this means. And that they're an Israelite, and how do they know they're Israelites? And what is the name of their power? And what should they do when these evils come upon them? And how should they go about it? So the Lord gave us the ability to understand the book. Because remember, it was sealed at one point. So the fact that we are able to read it and understand it is an example of spiritual power. And every day that we do this should remind you that the Lord is here working in our lives. Now, when the famine of the word comes, then the power to, for us to be teaching, yeah, we're going to have the knowledge of it, but we're not going to be teaching anymore. So if we're not teaching anymore, because the battle we're fighting is not going to be a battle of words anymore, what do you think is going to happen then? It's going to get physical. And so the Lord is going to need to turn it into turn up the spiritual power to another level. Because then we got to eat, right? So how are we going to eat? Well, how do we eat in the wilderness? You would say, wait, hold on. In the wilderness, there weren't no shops. There weren't no fast food restaurants. How do we eat? Did the Lord not rain down manna from heaven? Oh, he did. Did we know it was going to happen ahead of time? No, we didn't. But we survived, didn't we? So if he did all of these things, that's to show you that when something seems impossible, guess what? It never really is. Because I'm telling you, in the wilderness, you know why the rest of the Israelites were, murmuring? Because they weren't there saying, about like 2:30 p.m., the Lord's going to rain manna. Let's chill. Let's just wait a bit. They were saying, look, man, we going to die. Did the Lord bring us out here to kill us? Look at where we at. What we supposed to eat? I'd rather go back to Egypt in bondage if I can at least eat. And the Lord was like, oh, shit, damn, Angel Michael, you were supposed to prepare the shit so that they would, and then Moses went and prayed to the Lord, and what happened? Please tell me when food has ever come down from heaven. Are you going to tell me that manna coming down from heaven is just normal? That shit just happens? Food comes down literally from the sky. You look up in the air, and they're like, what is it? That's just manna. It just comes down every now and then. No. That's not normal. That doesn't just happen. That's divine intervention. And why did the Lord bring that divine intervention? So that we wouldn't die. If he didn't, we would die. And if the Lord wanted us dead, then why did he intervene? And every time it was recorded. And every time, you know what the ingredients were? Somebody had faith. Somebody had faith. Somebody believed and said, Lord. They believed and they prayed. And what happened? The Lord heard them. and he delivered them. And you're going to tell me that after all these different things, you're going to turn around and say that because of an injection, because somebody says I can't go to work. You think they could go to work in the wilderness? You think they didn't have any new clothes? They weren't at H&M copying new jackets, copying some fine-ass True Religion jeans? No. And you worried about some job? You think they didn't have bigger fish to fry up in there? And you worried about a job? Oh, they said they're going to fire me. And if they fire me, well, I can't eat. I can't do this. Hold on. So the Most High that created life, he can't feed you? You know what? Something came to mind, right? I was thinking about nature. And then you look at like a ladybug, for an example. You see how tiny and small a ladybug is? Guess what? It has a brain. It has things inside it that allow it to function, right? How the hell does a ladybug exist? Who is able to create things like that? Like when you look around you, that is an example to you that there's some higher power doing something somewhere, because two particles don't collide and create zebras, and create all manner of all the things that you see going on. It doesn't just happen. There's some true living power out there doing things, working, doing something, just like he did in the past. So what is your excuse? What triumphs the power of the Lord so much that you turn and you go and take it? What's your excuse? You can't say the Lord can't do it because there's proof that he can. You can't say he won't do it because he's not a man that he should lie. So then what's stopping you? What is it? You got to sit down and ask yourself, do you actually, if you are contemplating and you are afraid, damn, should I do it? Should I not? But what if? Forget what ifs. If you're worried about that, then you need to check your faith. You seriously need to check your faith. Because there's not really an option out here. We ain't out here worried about alternatives, man. We're out here looking. This is what the Lord said. This is what we're going to do. He told us this was going to happen. You knew ahead of time this was going to happen. You taught that this would happen. Okay? You told people that this was going to happen. You said Jacob's trouble was coming. You said the Lord said this is going to happen. There's going to be famines. Esau's going to come down with the pressure. We prayed that these things will come sooner, right? That they can't come soon enough. And now that they're here, you trying to push back and, draw back, and I'm trying to buy some more time. There is no more time to buy. All right? This is the time of action. The Lord is saying, I need you guys to rise up to the occasion. Okay? I need you guys to put your money where your mouth is. Put your faith where your mouth is. If you say you believe in me, I'm going to test you. Okay? But how far are you willing to go? Damn, I know bro's been lighting up the comment board. Let's see. This is Bayan Yasharallah, 1 Corinthians 1:27. But the Most High have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and the Most High have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. How does that happen? What didn't they say to the disciples? Aren't these ignorant and unlearned men? So how are they able to do things that we can't do? How is it that the doctors of the law weren't going around bringing people back from the dead? It said that just grabbing the hem of their garment, just the shadow of them walking by was healing people. Can you imagine that? We did that. How do you think we were able to do that back then? The Lord did it. Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, gave us that power to do it. Yahweh's warrior, 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Yes, the Most High is our God, but he's also our Father. And no father's going to sit there and say, my son is asking me for help, or my daughter is asking me for help, and they're crying on to me because they don't want to partake in some evil agenda. And I'm going to sit here, even though I told them not to partake in the evil agenda, and they call upon me, and I'm going to sit here and just abandon them. Well, if he was going to do that, he had many opportunities to do it sooner. Why would the Lord set up angels to encamp around those that he loves, just so that they can go and have him he can have him perish of whatever means it is? You don't know what next month is going to look like. You don't know what next week is going to look like. You don't know what December is going to look like. You know, all these, the doubts and the what ifs, man, you got to throw that away somewhere. Bury it somewhere, because it doesn't exist over here. There's no room for that. All right? There's no room for doubt. You want to occupy that room, put some faith in there. You want faith, read the scriptures and believe what it says, as I'm about to do right now. This is the book of 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1. And it says, now there cried a certain woman. Now, as I read this, keep in mind what positions they were in. These are positions of difficulty. Okay? And what was the outcome? Now it says, now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, thy servant, my husband, is dead. And thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord, and the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. And Elisha said unto her, what shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in thine house? And she said, thine handmaid hath not anything in the house save a pot of oil. So I'm in trouble, but I don't have anything to deliver me. I don't have anything. I can't pay him back. And he's about to take my sons as servants as a form of payment back. I need help. What can I do? And let's see what happened. It says here, then he said, go, borrow thee vessels abroad of all thy neighbors, even empty vessels, borrow not a few. So go get a lot of pans, a lot of pots, a lot of vessels. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons, so close the door, and thou shalt pour out into all those vessels, and thou shalt set aside that which is full. Now, he's saying this, right? You listening? Look at this. CDC warns un-V Americans to delay domestic trips until they are fully V'd. All right, there goes your travel. And it's funny how whenever they warn, all of a sudden it goes from recommendations and warnings to mandates and laws. But when we warn, we're crazy. So he's telling her these things. Get a pot. Get a lot of pots. All right. Come in. Close the door. Okay, I'm following. Okay, I get the pots. All right. Will you bring me something? No. And then after you're done, start pouring into the pots. And when it's full, right, set it aside. I'm sorry. What do you mean when it's full? I just told you I have only a little pot of oil left. When it's full, where does that part come in? But it says here, so she went from him and shut the door. Did she say, wait, hold on, what are you talking about? I just told you I have only a little bit of oil. How am I going to fill up a pot? You're talking about when it's full. I don't even have enough for, No, but she trusted his words because she believed he was a man of God. Was he bugging out? Was he panicking? This is a miracle that's about to take place right now. So she went from him and shut the door, right, upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said unto her son, bring me yet a vessel. And he said unto her, there is not a vessel more. And the oil stayed. That's the part right there, man. The oil stayed. You see how a problem is solved just like that? A simple solution. He said, what do you have in your house? All I have is a little bit of oil. Okay, go get you a lot of pots, pans, whatever it is, and just start pouring the oil in there. And she filled up all the vessels that she got, and the oil that she had was still there. Just like that. And then what? It says, then she came and told the man of God, and he said, go, sell the oil and pay thy debt, and live thou and thy children of the rest. And just like that, a bad situation just turned into a miracle. It just turned into a good situation because she had faith and she believed. And she said, look, I don't know what to do. I'm in need. I'm in need of help. And that was the first account, okay, of the Lord doing that. That's it. It didn't take much. That's it. Just like that. Boom. She's good. She went and did it. She went and sold it. She's fine. I mean, that's how easy it is for the Lord. It's not, and this is something that who would have thought of that? Yo, go get the oil in there and just keep pouring. That's all she had to do. Just keep pouring. And that's it. You know, who would have thought about that? But the Lord had that already planned. He said, look, don't worry about it. I got you. Because widows, now that, like we just read it, her husband died, who was going to take care of them? Verse 8, and it fell on a day that Elisha passed to Shunem, there was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as oft as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, behold, now I perceive that this is an holy man of God, which passeth by us continually. Let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and let us set up for him there a bed and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick, and it shall be when he cometh to us, that he shall turn in thither. So let's create a nice little area for him, because he always comes by here, and he can, you know, if it's late or whatever, he can stay here, right? And it fell on a day that he came thither and turned into the chamber and lay there. And he said unto Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite. And when he called her, she stood before him. And he said unto him, say now unto her, behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. What is to be done for thee? So what do you want? And you notice she was a helper, right? It says, wouldest thou be spoken for to a king, or to the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among mine own people. And he said, what then is to be done for her? And if I'm saying that right, Gehazi, you know, answered, verily she hath no child, and her husband is old. And he said, call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, about this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. And she said, nay, my lord, thou art a man of God. Do not lie unto thine handmaid. Because she didn't want that false hope. You know, it says, and the woman conceived and bare a son. And at the season that Elisha had set unto her according to the time of life. Hold on. How did he do that? How did he do that? You just told her? You mean to tell me that she didn't try to have a child? Of course she did. So how did he do that? Because she allowed him and she took care of him. He just told her, look, by this time you want a child, right? Okay, you don't have a child. Your husband is old. Okay, by this time next year, or by this time, yeah, you're going to have a child. And she conceived. Just like that. Was that also by coincidence? No. So do you ever see Alicia stressing? Damn, what can I get her? Maybe I could get her a nice iPhone, you know, or maybe I could get her some nice, you know, some nice socks, you know, some mitts or some ear warmers. No. All right. Because this was the Spirit of the Lord at work. And these, like, I'm going to just keep reading, but these are just some examples of things that the Lord was able to do just like that, using his men. Okay? Because an average individual can't just do that. That takes spiritual power. It says here, continue reading verse 18. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, my head, my head. And he said to the lad, carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door upon him, and went out. And she called unto her husband, and said, send me, I pray thee, one of the young men, and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of God, and come again. So she was looking for Elisha to ask for help. And he said, wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, it shall be well. Then she saddled an ass, and said unto her servant, drive, and go forward. Slack not thy riding for me, except I bid thee. So don't slow down except I tell you to. Verse 25. So she went and came unto the man of God to Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said unto Gehazi his servant, Behold, yonder is that Shulamite. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with thee? So go find out what's wrong with her. Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of God to the hill, she caught him by the feet. But Gehazi came near to thrust her away. And the man of God said, Let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her. So she grabbed his feet, and I mean, you could probably imagine, like, if she's in despair, so she comes down, because they show you that in certain movies and shows, how they come down, that like they grab onto the dude's feet or his garment, crying, begging, whatever it is. And it says here, her soul is vexed within her, and the Lord hath hid it from me, and hath not told me. Then she said, Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, Do not deceive me? Then he said unto Gehazi, Gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child. So was Elijah tripping? Elisha, was he tripping out? Was he bugging out? Was he saying, oh shit, he died? Oh my gosh, what do we do? I mean, that's death. That's death. What happens? When somebody dies, they die. They're gone. What do we do? No. He gave his servant the staff, and he gave him specific instructions. Right? Verse 30, And the mother of the child said, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing, because the child was dead. It says, Wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, The child is not awaked. And when Elisha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore, and shut the door upon them twain, and prayed unto the Lord. And you notice, I believe it was Yahushua also, before he brought the lady back to life again, he had them put out everybody because they were laughing at him. They laughed him to scorn because he said she's just sleeping. Because he knew. See, let me tell you something, man. How is it that you're seeing a dead body and you're not panicking? You're not bugging out because you have enough faith that the Most High can bring somebody back from the dead. And you got people bugging out over some stupid shot. You think the Lord can deliver you out of this situation? Look at the amount of faith it took. You know how much faith it takes for you seeing a corpse. And you know what happens when people die. And you're seeing a dead body right there. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to pray to the Lord. And this person that's dead is going to be alive. Do you know how much faith that takes? And they did it. They weren't bugging out. And you got people tripping out over a stupid ass injection. Oh, I'm gonna lose my job. I don't know what to do. You know what? Hey, I guess this is life from now on. So I guess we just got to do it. Why didn't they say, oh, well, they died. I guess this is life from now on. I mean, I guess we just got to do it that way. They had faith. So let's keep reading. And let's see what happened with that faith. So it says here, and prayed unto the Lord, and he went up and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. So the spirit came back into the child. Because the same way the spirit left the child, the Lord had it to where it came back into the body of the child. And he waxed warm, so life entered back into him. These are the things we were able to do, man. He just brought somebody back from the dead. And you're sitting here worried about a job? And what are you really worried about? That you can't pay rent? That you can't pay bills? Bills? This is life. And look at what the Lord did. And you worried about bills? Now it says here, and as I'm speaking right now, the brother Yashalam, I just saw a video that is the notification, and it's saying now, well, I got to go watch it because now, but he said that the V-Pass now under the skin, so I'm sure there's probably a video or somewhere of, that going on. And as we're speaking, that's an example of prophecy, because that's what Revelation 13 is all about. And that's happening. So everything around you is just pointing you to just have faith, man. Just believe that they live their life by faith. So let's keep going. It says here, verse 35, then he returned and walked in the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times. And the child opened his eyes. This isn't some put an IV drip in his veins. This isn't some get the little electric, shit, put it on his chest and say clear, and then shock him back to life. This is the child was dead, gone, no life in him, no breath. His body got cold. And his mom went and found a prophet, and the prophet came there, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, not Allah, not Jesus, not Buddha, not none of that shit, and brought him back to life. And he woke up. And he sneezed 7 times and woke up. And you think they had faith problems? Now it says here, verse 36, and he called Gehazi and said, call this Shunammite. And so he called her, and when she was come in unto him, he said, take up thy son. Here you go, take your son. Imagine hearing that, Oh, man. Then she went in and fell at his feet and bowed herself to the ground and took up her son and went out. Okay? And there's more. But the point is, these were things that happened. These were things that our forefathers did and experienced. And we're reading about it now. And we are those same men. Elisha, when God we worshiping now. He obeyed the same God we obey now. He was a prophet just like we're prophets now. She believed because he was a man of God, just like you believe and we believe that we are men of God. And when a situation like this arose, the Lord did not forsake them. Not the woman who was poor and the Lord had it to where, the oil was able to keep going so she could be delivered out of that. Not the woman who was barren and had it to where now she could have a son. And when he died, he was revived and brought back to life. What do you have to worry about after that? Ultimately, the one of the main fears, the ultimate fear for people is death. And our Lord, Yahushua, conquered death and told us already explicitly that there be some of you standing here which shall not taste of death till you see the Son of Man coming. So that means some way, somehow, we're going to be okay. The same God that allowed these things to happen is the same one that says, my servant shall eat. My servant shall drink. My servant shall rejoice for joy of heart. My servants are going to be good. And in the face of famine and destruction, thou shalt laugh. You're going to be in league with the beasts. They're not going to harm you. Whatever trouble comes, it's not going to touch you. I'm going to deliver you. I got a kingdom prepared for you. I go to prepare a place for you. All of these. That's our God. Not science. So don't come and tell us trust the science. F you, you trust the science. Okay? We're going to trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You know why? Because science is not what brought the boy back to life. Science can't explain why that oil didn't fail. Science can't explain that. It was Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that did that. So am I supposed to sit here and trust you telling me to trust the science? Or should I trust my power who I know did these things? Verse 38, and Elisha came again unto Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land. And the sons of the prophets were sitting before him. And he said unto his servant, set on the great pot and seethe pottage for the sons of the prophets. And one went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild gourds, his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. So they poured out for the men to eat. And it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out and said, O thou man of God, there is death in the pot, and they could not eat thereof. And he said, because it was poisonous. And he said, but he said, then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot and said, pour out for the people that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot. And there came a man from Baal Shalisha, and brought the man of God bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and full ears of corn in the husk thereof. And he said, Give unto the people that they may eat. And his servitor said, What? Should I set this before 100 men? I brought only 20 loaves of barley, and it says here, and full ears of corn, and I'm supposed to, he said, give it to the men so they can eat. He said, there's 100 men over here. You know, come again? It says, for thus saith the Lord, and then let me read it again. And his servitor said, What? Should I set this before 100 men? He said again, Give the people that they may eat. For thus saith the Lord, they shall eat and leave thereof. You saying this, you like, wait, what? But isn't that what Yahushua did? It says here, so he set it before them, and they did eat and left thereof according to the word of the Lord. Just like Yahushua fed the multitude, all right, what I believe was, 5 loaves and 2 fish, or vice versa, okay? And he fed thousands. So explain to me how that happens. That's not by coincidence. And there's many more accounts in the scriptures of the Lord performing these miraculous works so that we could eat. They were able to eat food, all right? They didn't have to go and comply and follow some mandates and say that if you don't do this, you can't come to the supermarket, or you can, it's cold outside, but you can't have a place to stay, or whatever the case may be. All right? This was raw and uncut spiritual power that the Lord gave Elisha to be able to perform these acts. And I believe it was Elisha who after he died, they said that where they had buried him, there was a man who was killed, and they basically, like, when they threw the body of the individual that died, and his body touched the bones. All right, his body touched the bones of the man of God, and he came back to life off of just touching his bones. You know, off of just touching his bones. And these things, this is history. This isn't fiction. This is history. Meaning it happened. The same way you go to history class and they tell you Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. They tell you Julius Caesar, did this, Augustus Caesar, emperor, Well, guess what? This is our history. So we are to believe these words and have faith, man. Spiritual power is real. Okay, it exists. And guess what? It will manifest because the Lord is going to do it. But he's going to do it at the right time when it's necessary, when we need it. And we will not be forsaken because our power said he will not forsake us. He will deliver us. Okay? That's right. Made the water to flow out the rock for us to drink. The Lord always did things that were unexpected, but it was always for our good. It was for our deliverance. It was for our benefit. It was for our behalf. So if the Lord said you're going to eat, you're going to eat. If he said you're going to drink, you're going to drink. If he said you're going to be protected, you're going to be protected. Don't question it. Don't ask how, why, when, if, what, who. Just do as he says. How did he say you're going to do it? He said you got to trust in him and have faith and believe. So the Lord isn't asking you to go jump off Mount Everest. He's not asking you to go take a nice hot bath in a volcano. He's not asking you to run 2,000 miles. He's asking you to believe in him. And just say, you know what? I may not know what to do, but I know what to do. Okay? I may not know how to go about this, but I know that I just have to pray to the Lord. Pray to the Lord. Matter of fact, before I close it, let me actually get one more precept. I think I always get this mixed up. I think it's in the book of Ephesians or Philippians. Okay? And the Lord said, you have to pray to him and cast your, be careful for nothing. Just pray to the Lord. All right? Yep. This is Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. And it says here, be careful for nothing, but in everything. But in everything. But in everything. It didn't say except this or except that or except when you're scared. It said, but in everything by what? Prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto the Most High. So if you are in trouble or you are in a situation, pray to the Lord and let your request be made known unto him, because his ears are sharper than ears itself. Okay, and his eyes are brighter than the sun itself. So he sees you. The Lord is listening to this right now. He sees everything we're doing. He knows how we feel about it. He's the Most High. So when you pray, yeah, he hears you. Yeah, he sees you. You may not see him. You may not hear him physically. All right, but Yahweh Yahushua are up there in the spirit world. The angels are right around here. You just don't see them, but they're there and they hear you. And when you cry and you pray to the Lord and you get frustrated and your spirit groans and whatever it is, the Lord is witnessing all of that. He is active. He is awake. He is looking. And when the time is right, he's going to say, stop that, do this, and it's going to be for our behalf. And it's going to be happening like clockwork, you know? And the Lord might just wake you up one day and tell you, yo, get your family and leave. And if you have to leave, he'll make it obvious and explicit for you, and you're going to leave. You know, he might manifest the angel. You might hear the voice like you hearing my voice. You might hear the voice in broad daylight. You by yourself, and you might hear the voice. And you might, what's that? And the Lord might tell you, it's me. I'm telling you, get your ass out of here. But whatever the Lord needs to do, matter of fact, I'm sorry, one more precept. Whatever the Lord needs you to do for you to be good, he will have you do it. The end goal is written. And in the end, we win. So some way, somehow, now we're about to find out how we win, but we know we win. Okay? So I'm going to actually finish it off with this precept. This is the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. Matter of fact, verse 27. Matter of fact, verse 25. 24. Slakia. It says here, for we are saved by hope. Romans 8 and 24. For we are saved by hope. But hope that is seen is not hope. Right? We hope for the kingdom. And we see the kingdom through faith. But we haven't seen it physically. We hope for salvation. And we see salvation through faith. But it hasn't come yet. Okay? We know that when this devil comes in like a flood, the Lord is going to lift up a standard. We hope for that. But we don't know exactly the detail of what he's going to do. But that's what hope is. Right? And it says, for what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for? But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. Because if you lose patience, the scriptures say, woe unto you that have lost patience. And if you lose patience, you're going to regret your moves. Verse 26, likewise the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray as we ought. But the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. So sometimes you may not even know what to ask for, but the Lord already knows what you need. Okay, verse 27, and he that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of God. So the Lord already knows what it is you need. He knows, the Lord has already planned how each and every one of us, if we're of the elect, is going to be delivered. If he's going to have mercy on our loved ones or not. If you know what, he has already planned all of that. So when the time comes, the plans are going to kick into motion. Everything is set. All right. Verse 28. And we know, right? That all things work together for good, not for bad, but for good to them that love the Most High. Do you love the Most High? Then if you love the Most High, then you should know that everything that happens is going to work to your good, your benefit. And how do you show you love the Most High? By doing what he asks you to do. It says, to them who are called according to his purpose. Verse 29, for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. We're not normal people. Okay, and I say that as humbly as I can, but we're not normal people. To understand this, a normal person can't understand the things we understand. A normal person doesn't think the way we think. People don't walk around thinking of a kingdom. They don't walk around thinking of chariots delivering them. They don't walk around visualizing the place that they're standing on being destroyed by thermonuclear fire. And that's not a bad thing for us. We have the minds of gods. Our minds, our ambition is out of this world, but that's a good thing. Okay? So we are not normal people. Because Lord willing, we're of the elect. We're going to be the greatest people in all existence. We're going to be the greatest of the greatest. And it'll stay that way for all eternity. So whatever it is you have to suffer here, remember Paul said that it's not worthy to be compared to what you're going to get after. So I am telling you that a shot or a grain of rice is not worth missing out on the blessings that are going to come to the elect. Hell no. Okay? Far, far, far from it. And remember verse 28. Always remember verse 28. That everything works to the good of them that love the Most High. Everything. You may be getting gun-butted in the face. But guess what? It's going to work to the good of them that love the Most High. And you may not see it at the moment. And it may not feel good at the moment. And it may hurt. You may feel weak. You may feel powerless. You may be afraid. But just know that if you love the Most High and you're of the elect, it'll work to your benefit. All right? So don't be upset that these people get freedoms and restriction free and they get to talk shit and be proud. It's fine. Let them have their moment. But the triumphant of the wicked is short. It's but for a moment. Okay? And the reward of the righteous is eternal. So have faith and believe in our power, because he's nobody else's God but our God. And it's our duty, our responsibility. We owe it to the Lord to have faith, because he didn't bring us and wake us up to this truth for nothing. If that was the case, he could have left us in the world. But he brought us into the truth and gave us an opportunity to get delivered, to be saved, to show him that we have repented and we are seeking him. So seeking the Lord, seek him what? 10 times more. And that's pretty much it. So, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. All right, the water for tuning in, the water for the precepts. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Barakatham to you all, and just keep the faith. All right, so with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakah Qudash. Until next time, Shalom.